The clown show continues, my friends. In my last couple of videos, I operated under the assumption that Biden would stay in the race. He was being stubborn, defiant, doubling down, tripling down, with his power-hungry family pushing him to stay in the race, which only emboldened his ego all the more. This is a man who has been running for president for decades, has been in politics for longer than most of us have been alive, and, like the vast majority of politicians, puts his own ambition first. But it was inevitable. One trickle after another, one op-ed followed by a statement from an elected Democrat, followed by a donor backing out, and repeat, until eventually the dam burst. Now, we have a new candidate in the field. Granted, not yet officially nominated, but she is the heir apparent, the one the Democratic Party shall now attempt to anoint, to coronate. I can't speak for most of the voting public, but speaking for myself, I care about the policies first and foremost. Whatever face you put on it, whatever demographic box a candidate checks off, whatever the optics, the narrative, the platitudes and cliches, if the policies are the same, I will treat you the same. This is why I won't treat Kamala Harris with kid gloves, or why I won't allow this shakeup in the race to undermine my resolve, or have any meaningful effect on how I cast my ballot, or how I conduct myself in political discourse. If you have integrity, if you stand for the liberation of the working class, if you care for the recognition and self-determination of Palestine, if you stand against the for-profit prison industrial complex, if you care for the human rights and the civil rights of all Americans, whatever their skin color or other immutable characteristic, if you believe in a humanitarian immigration policy that keeps families together, then Kamala Harris is not your candidate. Frankly, no Democrat could ever be your candidate. Even the so-called left wing of the Democratic Party has been complicit in Israel's genocide in Gaza. Even Bernie Sanders himself, who is credited with energizing a whole generation of progressive youth, which I consider myself a part of some years ago, has sold out. Listen, I would love a female president, would love to. But it has to be someone with a vision I can agree with. Someone with an agenda that puts people, planet, and peace over profit. Someone who not only talks the talk, or reining in capitalist excess, but someone who walks the walk of getting at the very heart of why we are where we are. Instead, Harris is just like the rest of them. There is no Democrat, who could make me change my view. The view that the Democratic Party, spineless, weaselly, cowardly, does not stand for the interests of everyday working people. They say what they need to say to get into power, but once they're there, they continuously disappoint. It's this disappointment and this disillusionment that give us the Donald Trump of the world. And under his rule, corporations flourish as much as they ever have. So really, the elites win either way. Talk about a rigged election. This is by design. Has been since the inception of our country. Now, speaking of the elephant in the room, can she beat Donald Trump? Well, if we look at the polling evidence, it's true. She either pulls the same or slightly better than Biden. But she is hardly inspiring to those who, again, care more about the substance than the optics. She has a tendency to spew out word salad. Granted, not like Trump speaks cohesively either, but he scratches an itch for the working class right wing. And when she ran in 2020, she started out as a top-tier candidate, but withdrew in shame after barely registering in polls anymore, with her career resuscitated by Biden picking her for vice president. Which is poetic because his very own political career was saved by establishment candidates, dropping out right before the Super Tuesday primaries, and coming to his rescue, blocking Bernie's path to the nomination. And rewinding the clock even further, who would remember Biden now had Obama never chosen him for his vice president? Look, I'm concerned about Project 2025 and the prospects of a second Trump presidency. I really am. But I'm just as concerned about more of the status quo, which would only kick the can further down the road by another few years. Frankly, our country's demise is not just imminent. It's upon us. We are living through the final days of the American empire. Harris will not save it. Trump certainly won't either. In fact, he'll only accelerate it. But like I said in my last video, at a certain point we must understand that saving the United States, at least in the current form that it exists in, is a pointless effort. We must reframe our thinking entirely and make something new.